Where is she?
I don't know where she is.
Where is Savannah?
No. Where did you go with her? I know you're not that cruel inside. I'm begging you, Lee. Just tell us.
I don't know where she is.
This is Lee Rodarte, who was arrested on suspicion of kidnapping and killing his co-worker Savannah Gold without knowing Savannah's whereabouts. The police were aware that if they conducted this interview incorrectly, they might never apprehend the murderer. Even worse, Lee had a solid tale that would guarantee Savannah would never be discovered. However, Lee believes he is more intelligent than the detectives. He was unaware of this, would be a grave error on his part. Savannah's family was notified via text message on August 2, 2017, that she was fleeing and leaving her employment. Because of the numerous mistakes in the texts, her family became alarmed and reported her missing right away. The police were struggling through the inquiry until they were abruptly provided with the CCTV footage from Savannah's workplace, the Bonefish Grill. In the parking lot, she is seen on camera boarding a silver car before it starts to shake violently, and the door is jerked open and closed 3 times. Savannah was never seen again when the automobile left the parking lot. Following a number of interviews, they found that the car belonged to Lee Rodarte, who worked as a manager at the Grill and was Savannah's boyfriend for around 2 months. On suspicion of murder, Lee was taken into custody right away and taken to the interrogation room. But once the cops informed him that it was for a minor traffic warrant, the following occurred.
I'll stay right out here. You can go have a seat for me real quick. I'll be right back, okay?
Yes, sir.
Lee is clearly given the impression that he won't have to wait long to be seen when he is informed the detective would return shortly, yet it takes 90 minutes for anyone to return to the room. Handcuffed and brought into a police interrogation room, Lee was interviewed just days earlier over the disappearance of a girl he abducted. Lee will be really nervous right now, but keep in mind that he is certain that the police do not have enough evidence to bring him down. Unfortunately for him, the investigator's facade is going to be torn away.
Hey, man.
How you doing, buddy?
Good. You remember me from the other day? Detective
sir.
Reeves? Okay. This is my partner, Detective Staley.
The detective who brought him in is not the same one who enters. It was the person who had questioned him 3 days earlier about Savannah. Lee's plan remains the same, so he attempts to remain calm as he gets ready for the barrage of questions that are going to be thrown at him.
So, Savannah, you said that you knew her and you guys had, you knew her from work. I mean, just kind of fill me in with that. How long have you known her?
Like I said, I've known her obviously since she started working there. I would say probably about 8 months ago, we started hanging out outside of work. And at the time, I had a girlfriend. But we kind of connected, me and Savannah. So we hung out a little bit here and there. Got pretty close. We come from, I guess, somewhat similar backgrounds, I guess you should say.
Any solace he may have had in believing that this was all irrelevant has now been totally destroyed and replaced with utter panic. How long have you known Savannah? Was the question Lee was asked. When faced with a question like this, people who have nothing to hide tend to answer it succinctly and take it at face value. However, people who are under pressure tend to elaborate on their responses in an attempt to appear as though they are knowledgeable about the subject, which Lee will undoubtedly fall victim to.
So we kind of connected, hung out for a little while. I'd probably say a period of 2-3 months.
Okay.
And then she started using drugs a lot. I did them with her a couple times, and then she started to get heavy into them. And
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
so I kind of just tried to take a step back and, put things off. And then probably a month or so ago, I saw Savannah at work, and she looked healthy again. She gained a little bit of weight. We kind of were talking, here and there. We hung out a couple times. She came over to the house, and, we just kicked back, drank a couple beers, watched movies, stuff like that.
Lee answered a single, straightforward question for more over 5 minutes, going so far as to describe certain interactions between the two. Now that the investigators have further grounds to believe he might be concealing something, in order to measure him, they choose to call him out on a minor infraction. Lee informed detectives in the initial interview that he hadn't seen Savannah in a long time, but if the CCTV footage is to be trusted, this is a brazen lie.
And then as we hung out, after a couple of times, she brought drugs over. I told her, I was like, you're doing really good. You can't, you shouldn't be doing it again. I think we moved too fast. Split mutual ways.
Mutual. Right, yeah.
And that was the last time that we text.
Okay.
When was that?
Yeah.
When was that?
It was probably 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Sometime in July.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's one of the things you said was that was the last time that you had contact with her.
Yes.
As far as, I don't want to put words in your mouth, so I mean you correct me.
That was
at
the
any
last time that I texted her.
Yeah, text or a phone call or a messenger or anything like that. It was 2 to 3 weeks ago. Yeah. Okay. And then the last time, when was the last time you saw her?
This is what I was a bit. I didn't tell you the truth when we talked at Bonefish.
Okay.
Last time I saw her was Wednesday afternoon.
Okay.
I heard that she has been basically telling a lot of people at work that we hooked up a bunch, like a couple of days before that. So I met her in the parking lot at Bonefish
When was this?
Wednesday afternoon.
Okay. Well, do you know what time or about?
It was about 5:30.
Unaware of it, Lee has already given us sufficient proof to believe he is guilty. He had the same car in the video and was at the crime location when it occurred, so we know he knew Savannah. Recall that Lee is unaware that the police had video of the incident. If he had, he would have attempted to offer an alibi that would have placed him in a totally different situation. Unfortunately, though, this isn't quite enough evidence to give the police a conviction. Instead, they must strive harder to gain a complete confession, which won't be easy at all.
I parked and I said, "Hey, can I talk to you for a second?" And she said, "Yeah, what's up?" And I was like, "I heard you've been saying some things about me and you continuing to hang out, and that we're boyfriend and girlfriend." And she asked me, she said, "Can I come sit in the car? Because I just did some heroin and I'm a little paranoid."
It was never verified that Savannah took heroin. No one in her life ever saw or suspected that she did. And even if she did, she was on her way to work at the time of this discussion to see if she could do so without becoming suspicious. It's odd that she couldn't just stop by the parking lot and talk.
She came and sat in the car, and I explained to her the situation. I told her that servers at Bonefish were coming to me and telling me that you're telling people when you're out that we're boyfriend and girlfriend. And I said, I need you to stop, because for one, it's jeopardizing my job. We agreed to, split, stop talking mutually and just move on. But it was nothing more than that. And she said, I'm going to do what I want. I didn't tell anybody anything. At that point, I got out. Now stop. And I said, don't do it again, or next time it's going to be worse. It's going to be your windows. At that point, she had her phone in her hand. She got out of the car and walked towards the main entrance from San Jose.
Although it is clear that the goal of this entire explanation was to produce an alibi that was as close to the truth as possible, the few little errors are actually stark windows into reality. We are aware that Savannah drove off with him shortly after getting in the car, and that she never abandoned it in the parking lot. It appeared like she was either texting or calling someone, and Lee is unintentionally building a mountain of evidence against him in the form of lies that he believes he is getting away with.
And it looked like she was either texting or calling somebody.
Okay.
Because as she started walking towards there's an entrance to the plaza. She was walking maybe towards this way. Mm-hmm. And I would say an older model Ford pickup, mm-hmm. green.
Okay.
Drove past me and around, and she got in.
Okay. How long do you think it was between the time that she got out and started using her phone till that green truck pulled up?
Maybe 5 minutes.
Okay. So wow. So if she called somebody, they got there in 5 minutes to pick her up?
Well, I mean, like I said, it looked like she was going to call somebody, and that's when the green truck came around, and she got in.
So she gets in the truck. What happened at that point?
they drove back around, kind of looped around a little bit.
Which way did they drive?
So I guess they exited that way, and at that point, I left.
Lee redoubles on the lie, believing that since he wouldn't have been the last to see Savannah, he is now totally exonerated. However, his choices have continued to backfire. He could have been able to claim that he brought Savannah somewhere else before splitting up with her, but he wouldn't have known what the police had against him had he chosen to remain more truthful. Lee is compelled to make up stories on the go and is left to merely speculate.
What happened to your neck?
That was self-inflicted, actually.
Why?
I just have been having kind of a hard time.
To your neck?
I couldn't. Yeah, I did. And
What did you use?
a knife.
When did you do that?
Some time in July.
You did that in July and it's still
Yeah.
bloody?
Well, I kind of peel the scab here and there at work, hitting it on stuff like that. I peeled it last night working. And it was coming off a little bit today, so I peeled that a little bit.
All right, let me see.
But this was the same night. This one was just a lot worse
Yeah.
than this one was.
Okay. And that was in July?
Yeah.
Okay. Like a few weeks back.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a genius to see how blatantly dishonest this is. This is in addition to the fact that his excuses are delivered in a rather unpersuasive manner. In the weeks preceding this incident, Lee was said to have been in a good mood and has no history of self-harm. Additionally, Lee starts to show signs of anxiety here. The majority of people can sense whether someone is lying or uncomfortable. This includes slouching in their chair or crossing their arms, but Lee maintains a fairly constant position and posture throughout the interview. Rather, earlier in the conversation, Lee was prone to unconsciously twitching his limbs. Here, he makes strange movements with his hand and fingers each time he speaks a lie, whereas when he was caught in his first lie, he bounced his leg repeatedly. Actually, it's almost funny how well it matches the untrue claims. It's also noteworthy that the investigators most likely observed these signs just a few seconds into the interview. The deliberate choice to bring it up at this time was made in an effort to increase Lee's worry over his most recent major deception about Savannah. Leaving a car caught observing him abruptly will probably tell a second falsehood shortly after. Intensify these emotions and make him feel even more suspicious as the investigators go on. This is perhaps also the reason they promptly return to discussing the truck.
Could you see who the person in the truck was?
The truck had fairly tinted windows. I saw a baseball cap.
Yeah. You see a guy, girl, white, black?
I couldn't really tell if it was a guy or a girl.
Okay.
I just remember seeing the truck drive and her get in.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm sitting in the front and the truck drives right past me.
Yeah.
And I saw a baseball cap through the passenger window.
Okay.
But
So did it seem like she knew the person?
I mean, she got right in.
Lee, why didn't you mention this before since we've been looking for this girl? I mean, don't you think that information
I mean,
is important?
it definitely does. And I regret obviously not saying anything before.
So when I come up and talk to you yesterday, I'm not threatening. I'm talking to everybody up there. What? Why?
Well, I just, I freaked out, to be honest with you. I mean,
this girl's missing?
Yes.
Okay, but you know she's been missing. I mean, you had to know.
Obviously, I was the last one to see her, so
Yeah.
I was a little bit scared at that. And
How do you know you just said you weren't the last one to see her. You just said somebody in a truck.
Well, I mean, the last one to see her at Bonefish.
Okay.
The last one she's heard from.
Right.
I had contact with that anybody knows of.
Sure.
The investigator chooses to maintain the pressure since he is aware that he's beginning to catch Lee off guard.
So where's Savannah right now?
I don't know.
Where would I find her?
I don't know.
That's my prime objective is to find her.
Definitely.
And here's a couple reasons I need to find her. One is I'm hoping that she's still alive. And that's really, I really do, I'm holding out for that. And if she's not alive, then I think she and her family are due that knowledge. I think they need some closure. So where is she?
I don't know where she is.
Where is Savannah?
I don't know.
I need to know where Savannah is so I can
don't
let
know
her family
where
know.
she is.
You don't know because you had something done with her and you weren't involved in that part? I don't know. Tell me something. What can I work with?
I told you the last time I saw her.
But that's not true because we have proof. We have proof. And that's why we're sitting here, Lee. At this point, we need this for her. I mean, I look at that little girl and I think of my little girl. My little girl who's her age. That's who I think about. If that was my little girl, I couldn't imagine. I don't care what she said about you or whatever, but my little girl is that age.
Maybe
And you're not telling the truth.
Maybe something gets out of hand in the car.
I didn't do anything.
Okay, you didn't do anything, but she was in your car. She never got out of your car. She never got out of your car, Lee.
This is where these detectives' actual brilliance begins to show. Throughout the interrogation, the male detective maintained a very deadpan professional manner, while the originally silent female detective suddenly starts to speak out. Having that all of a sudden, it will probably come as an even greater shock to him to be pushed in front of someone who appears emotionally sensitive, particularly when she becomes increasingly emotional and even begins pleading with him.
She never gets out of that car. And you drive off. She never gets out of that car. There is no green truck. And that's not right to her. We're fact finders, Lee. I don't have anything personal against you.
No, not at all. I mean, it's
We're
over.
just fact finders.
Tell us
We're
what
just
happened.
doing
Where
our
is she?
job. No. Where did you go with her? Where did you go with her, Lee? Be human. You're a human. You're a man. Where did you go with her? I know you're not that cruel inside.
Maybe you
Please.
maybe you don't know where she is now. Where did you go with her?
Please. I'm begging you, Lee. I know you're not an evil person. I don't see that in you. I don't see that in your history. I don't hear those things about you at work. Is she still at your house?
No.
Okay. Is she still in your car?
No.
Okay. Well, then where is she? What was going on in the back seat? For the doors to be kicked open. She kicked open that door 3 times, Lee. She kicked it. We saw it. And you know I'm not making it up because I wouldn't know this because I wasn't there unless we had video of it, correct? Yes, correct. I'm not trying to trick you. I'm just a fact finder.
I mean, she was upset. She tried to slap me. I slapped her. She went to get out. I grabbed her around her waist and said, "Where are you going? Why are you hitting me?" She calmed down and we left.
Why would she leave with you after that? Why would she?
I mean, we've gotten arguments plenty of times where she says she doesn't care what happens or anything like that.
All right. Sometimes people do wrong things, right? Some people make mistakes. It's what you do afterwards. I got a family that needs closure. They are now coming to the reality that she's no longer with us. Do you want people to remember you as a guy who said, okay, look, I'm going to do the right thing? Or do you want your family and everybody else to think that you're some evil, heartless person who won't tell us where she is? I don't think you're that kind of guy. I don't think you're evil. Just tell us where she is. Closure for her family.
She was hitting me. She wouldn't stop, and I squeezed back. I just squeezed her hard. Stop.
You squeezed her around her neck or around her neck?
She just wouldn't let go. I didn't let go.
Where is she now?
Please tell us where she is.
All I want to do is leave me. It's a pond on the west side of the Club du Clay
Club du Clay?
Yeah.
Okay.
at Longchamp.
Yeah. Okay.
A few days later, a diving crew found Savannah Gold's burnt remains, and Lee was so nearly unrecognizable that it was impossible to even ascertain what caused her death. Rodarte entered a guilty plea to Savannah's second-degree murder and was given a 40-year prison sentence in March 2021.